Welcome to the KA-SAT two-way installation video. This video is for use by certified two-way professional installers only. Any private individual must contact their distributor for installation advice. You must respect all local health and safety regulations pertaining to satellite antenna installation. Eutelsat does not accept any responsibility for any harm or damage resulting from installing a two-way antenna. First, verify that the contents of your two-way kit are complete. Please find the list on the instructions page. The transceiver or TRIA. The TRIA on the left is for the mid and top pole antennas. The TRIA with the black feed horn is for professional antennas only. The modem with Ethernet cable. Verify you have all the necessary tools for the installation. You can now start to assemble the antenna. Place the antenna mount on the mast. Feed the top two coach bolts through the antenna holes. With a colleague, feed the bolts through the holes in the mount. Hold the antenna in place while one of you fits the washer, split washer, and nut to the coach bolts. Put the bottom bolts in place with nuts and washers. Tighten all 4 nuts as tight as possible. Take the reflector adapter and fit to the bottom of the antenna with a coach bolt. Washer, split washer, and nut. Tighten as tight as possible. Take the feed tube and place the interface casting in position. Next, put the coach bolts through the holes and fix in place again washer, split washer, and nut. Tighten as tight as possible. Fit the 2 side rods to the lower holes on each side of the antenna. You must now fit the feed tube into the reflector adapter. This may be a little bit difficult and require a certain amount of leverage. Fix the tube in position with 2 coach bolts and washers and split washers. Tighten as tight as possible. You can now fit the side rods to the interface casting and feed tube. Tighten all 4 side rod bolts as tight as possible. You must use a 76mm diameter mast. This table defines the wind loading limits. To allow two-way to communicate with the satellite, you must have 2 parameters to point the antenna and the spot color to program the modem. The azimuth angle is in reference to north and corresponds to movement right and left of the antenna. The elevation angle is in reference to the ground and corresponds to up and down movements. To identify the azimuth, elevation and spot color that corresponds to your location, you must go to finder.twoway-install.com. On this website, you're able to identify your location via 3 methods. First, using a map. The website then calculates the elevation and azimuth angles and your spot color. This color configures the circular polarization and the modem. You can also use GPS coordinates to calculate the angles and spot color configuration. Finally, you can also use the installation address as well. You can then go to the satellite view and zoom in. The arrow shows the line of sight angle. You can discuss the antenna position with your client before you arrive. KA SatFinder is also available on smartphones. This application includes a new pointing function showing the exact line of sight. Now you have all your parameters for your line of sight, you can start choosing your installation position. With your compass, identify the azimuth angle the antenna must face. You must have a clear line of sight to the satellite position with no obstacles, such as buildings or trees. A person should be prevented from getting within a distance equal to the diameter of the antenna. You should also have approximately a 10-degree margin between your line of sight angle and any obstructions. The final criteria for choosing a good installation position is the maximum cable distance between the modem and antenna. The maximum distance is 50 meters, but can be longer depending on the type of cable. When cabling the antenna, leave a service loop of about 70 centimeters to enable the replacement of connectors. At the point of entry to the building, put in a drip loop. When drilling the hole in the exterior wall, drill down at a slight angle to prevent water penetration. For exterior connectors, always use compression connectors if possible. Strip away the inner and outer insulation to expose the center pin and dielectric. Make sure there's no connection between the shield and the center pin. Push on the compression connector so that the dielectric is flush with the bezel part of the connector. Cut the center pin about 3 mm above the connector. Ensure there's no earthing truss touching the center pin. Then compress the connector. The antenna weighs approximately 26 kilos, so you'll need a colleague to help mount the antenna. Make sure to score the paint on the mount to ensure a good contact. Place the earth cable onto the bolt. Make sure the serrate washer is facing the earth crimp. Tighten as tight as possible. We will now locate the satellite with the first pointing procedure. Install the KU pointing tool with easy-to-use Velcro, then connect to the analyzer. Now enter the correct frequency and voltage to select a suitable carrier on 9 degrees east. In this case, we've chosen the Akiva carrier on vertical high. Ensure that the 4 elevation locking nuts are loose. Adjust the elevation to the value indicated by the KA SatFinder application. The offset angle from this position is 12.6 degrees. If your elevation angle is 33.6 degrees, you should add 12.6 to obtain the angle displayed on the inclinometer, which in this case should be 46.2 degrees. Then, using your compass, find the azimuth angle adjust your antenna until you've maximized the 9 degrees east KU signal on your analyzer, then lock off the 3 canister bolts Now, take off the KU pointing tool and mount the TRIA in position with 4 screws and split washers. Connect the earth cable to the TRIA as shown. Connect the coaxial cables to the TX and RX ports of the TRIA. Tighten with a spanner to ensure waterproofing. Connect the modem TX and RX ports with the TRIA TX and RX ports. Power up the modem by plugging in the power lead. After modem boot up is finished, plug in the Ethernet cable, then connect your PC to the modem. For Windows 7, click on Start, click on Control Panel, click on View Network Status. Click on Change Adapter Settings. Right-click on Local Area Connection. Click on Properties, click on IPv6 to deflag it. Click on IPv4, then click on Properties. Check Obtain IP Address Automatically is highlighted. Click OK, then Close. Now you need to configure Internet settings. Click on Start, click on Control Panel, click on Network and Internet. Click on Internet Options. Click on Connections. Check Never Dial a Connection is selected and press OK. You are now ready to program the modem. Type in the address 192.168.100.1 in the URL window, then press Enter. You are now in the modem user interface on the home page. You can enter the modem page with details of the modem and the TRIA page with details of the TRIA. To configure the modem for installation, enter the address and install. You now highlight the spot color indicated by the KA SatFinder and press on the arrow on the right-hand side. You now enter a new screen for antenna pointing. We now move to the second method of finding the satellite, with an inclinometer and the TRIA's beeper. Check the elevation locking nuts are loose. Check that your elevation is correct with the inclinometer, taking into account the offset angle. Check your azimuth angle with a compass. Now you hear the heartbeat tone. You should turn the antenna until you hear the ambulance tone. You then hear the locking tone. Now lock off the 3 canister bolts while still hearing the locking tone. Now reset the modem SNR meter. Do this by placing your hand over the feed horn for 7 heartbeats. You hear the ambulance tone again. Check that the 2 azimuth locking nuts are loose. Start fine pointing the azimuth by turning in one direction. When you hear the tone drop, change direction. The continuous tone at this point does not indicate maximum signal level. You must hear the tone drop a second time. When you hear it drop a second time, change direction. Now make very small movements slowly, very slowly, until you hear the continuous tone. Lock off the azimuth locking nuts as tight as possible. You must now reset the modem again, waiting for 7 heartbeats. The ambulance tone, then the lock tone. Check that the elevation locking nuts are loose. Start fine pointing the elevation by turning in one direction. Hear the tone drop. Then change your direction. The continuous tone here does not indicate maximum signal level. You must hear the tone drop a second time and change direction. Now, make very small movements slowly, very slowly, until you hear the continuous tone. Lock off the 4 elevation locking nuts as tight as possible. You'll see a third box with a tick. Once you have a tick, you click on the arrow on the right-hand side. The first stage is receive synchronization with the network. The modem then ranges and synchronizes its transmission and enters the network. It then receives DHCP and network information. Finally, when the LAN LED is blinking, it's on the last stage of synchronization. When all 4 LEDs are on, the modem is online. It is ready for activation with the activation code. Whatever internet page you enter, you should now go to the activation page. Click Enter. Please record the RF parameters for the installation report. Enter your activation code. Modem activation should be finished after reboot. For anyone wishing to be a certified two-way installer, the Two-Way Campus offers a 3-part online course. The final online test is a realistic 3D antenna pointing simulator. The KA SatFinder is an essential online tool to determine both your line of sight angle and modem configuration. It is available for all computers and mobile phones, with an offline version as well. The Two-Way Extranet offers certified installers multimedia support, documentation, and a discussion forum.